Hey everybody, and welcome back. What a beautiful, glorious morning it is in Michigan, and I have the day off today. We're letting the house that we taped dry. It's a little cool. There's no heat in the house, so we need it to dry before we can put a second coat on. And that gives me time to show you my top 10 college football power rating. I know there's a difference, but these are the 10 teams that I think are the best in the nation. Number one is Ohio State. Now, 1 and 2 can be flipped. I think they're tied, really, 1A, 1B. But Ohio State is 5 and 0, and they are scoring 49 points per game on offense. They're giving up 15 points per game on defense. They're gaining 530 yards per game offensively and only allowing 264. CJ Stroud is playing great. Last game versus Rutgers was not his best performance, but he's still 69% on the season and 275 yards per game. 18 touchdown passes to only 2 interceptions. So he's rolling along, and the team as a whole running the ball is gaining 226 yards per game. Alabama comes in, like I said, tied, basically, 5 and 0. They're scoring 49 points per game as well, allowing 11 points per game defensively. They're gaining 525 yards on the field, and they're allowing 236 yards per game. Bryce Young, I don't know if he's questionable or if he's sitting out this next game or not. Milrow might be stepping in there. But Bryce Young so far has 240 yards per game, 14 passing touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. As a whole, the team is rushing for 251 yards per game. Number 3, there's a change up here, is Michigan. Michigan is 5 and 0. They're scoring 45 points per game. They're allowing 12 points per game defensively. They're gaining 457 yards per game and allowing 252 yards per game. J.J. McCarthy is 79% on the season. He's getting only 170 yards per game, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. Running the ball as a whole, Michigan is gaining 222 yards per game on the ground. Now I flipped them with Georgia. Michigan's coming off good performances versus Maryland and Iowa. Georgia, subpar performances against Kent State, and they had to come back versus Missouri. They're still number 4, 5 and 0. They're scoring 39 points per game, allowing 11. Their yards per game, 521, and opponents are getting 264. Stetson Bennett is 70% on the season for 307 yards per game, only 5 touchdowns and 1 interception. And running the ball, they're only gaining 179 yards per game on the ground. Number 5 is Clemson. Clemson is 5 and 0. They have 41 points per game, allowing 21 points per game. I think most of that was in that double overtime game versus Wake Forest, who was no slouch, you'll see here. They are gaining 438 yards per game and allowing 333 yards per game. DJ Uiagalelei is 65%, 248 yards per game, 11 touchdowns and only 1 interception. So he has made huge strides from last season. Running the ball, the team as a whole is getting 176 yards per game. And the aforementioned Wake Forest comes in at number 6. Yep, I think they would beat the teams that are below them. They are 4 and 1. They're getting 40 points per game, allowing 29 points per game. They're gaining 431 yards and they are allowing 379. Sam Hartman is 64% for 239 yards per game, 15 passing touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. But their rushing game is kind of concerning, only 133 yards per game. Um, and of course, defensively, they are kind of lackluster, but that offense is amazing. They have a chance to beat anyone. And number 7 is Oklahoma State, another offensive team that has kind of a sluggish defense. They are 4-0, 48 points per game. They're allowing 23 points per game. They're gaining 478 yards per game and allowing 397 yards. Spencer Sanders is 66% on the season, 274 yards per game, 11 touchdown passes, and 2 interceptions. And as a team, they are only running the ball for 164 yards per game. TCU comes in at number 8, coming off that big win over Oklahoma. They are 4-0. They have 48 points per game. They're allowing 22 points per game. They're gaining 550 yards per game and allowing 369. Donovan Smith is 67% on the year for 386 yards per game. Wow. 11 touchdown passes to 7 interceptions. I guess he's got to clean that up, but if you pass the ball that much, you're going to have some interceptions. But man, they pass for 386. He does anyway. And the team rushes for 252 yards per game. So very balanced and very good in both categories. Number 9 is Utah. The Utes from the Pac-12. They are 4-1, scoring 42 points per game, allowing 14 points per game. They're gaining 454 yards per game and allowing 279. Cam Rising is 68% on the season, 231 yards per game, 13 touchdown passes, and 2 interceptions. As a team, they are getting 203 rushing yards per game. And number 10 is another new team from last week, Mississippi. Ole Miss is 5-0, coming off that great game and win against Kentucky. They're getting 37 points per game, allowing 12 points per game, and they're gaining 470 yards a game and allowing 316. Jackson Dart is 60% for 182 yards per game, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. But that's not the story for Ole Miss. They are a running team this year. Lane Kiffin changes it up to, I guess, accommodate the personnel that he has, and he's got 2 really good running backs. They're gaining 262 yards per game on the ground. USC, Penn State, Oregon, and Tennessee are all right there for number 11. So they're close. And this ranking, as you see, changes from week to week quite a bit. So stay tuned for next week. Maybe your team will be up there. I also gave mention to UCLA and NC State. So there you have it. Please like the video, and we'll see you on the next video. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.